And if everyone could also just make sure to start with their microphone muted, and just to kind of keep it muted throughout the session. And I think that's, if you are on a desktop, you might want to use gallery mode. I think are we gonna not do the screen share? So
yeah, I'm gonna try gallery mode on this one. So yeah, that's what I have it in. Yeah, that's gonna be the gallery mode's gonna be the easiest way to see everyone's cats.
Most important part.
Obviously, yes. All right. So a little bit about how this is going to work. So welcome to our demonstration of our upcoming product, How to RPG with Your Cat, here at Oddfish Games. This is a new system that we're sort of pioneering, or at least developing, which brings your cat into the gaming experience by making your cat the engine of randomization in your RPGs. So in order to sort of demonstrate this project, we thought the best way to do it was just to play through a little scenario, a little semi-RPG scenario with all of our cats. So collectively, we're all going to be embodying the character of a cat on a spaceship in a short sci-fi adventure. So at certain points, I'm going to give you all a prompt from the How to RPG with Your Cat book. And this is going to be a Google poll. So I'm going to link this in the chat. And if you can all go to the Google poll, and there will be a prompt that gives an interaction with your cat. For instance, throw a small toy over your cat's head. You will see how your cat reacts and choose on the poll the reaction that best fits what your cat did. So this is going to be standing in for our dice rolls, and sort of whatever gets the most reactions from our collective cats, that's what our cat in the story is going to do. All right. So we have a list of, for each prompt, we have a list of about 10 possible reactions. It's entirely possible that your cat does something totally unexpected. In that case, choose whichever option you think is closest. If I give a prompt and your cat sort of has lost interest by then, or they don't seem particularly interested in that prompt, you can always choose to roll a d10 sort of over your cat. This is called our alternate prompt. And whichever or whatever the die ends up showing, you can just sort of choose that option, 1 being the top, 10 being the bottom, and just sort of vote that way. And yeah, so just remember that we have tried to make all of our prompts things that are fun for both cats and people, but you know your cats better than we do. So if we go to one of the prompts and it seems like your cat really isn't going to like that prompt, you can feel free to do something else. Just roll the dice next to them, throw a toy, see what they do, because the idea here is for us all to have fun, human and feline. Okay, so before I start, does anyone have any questions or things they want to ask? All right, well, if you do, go ahead and throw things up in the chat. Julie, I think, is going to be monitoring the chat for the most part. But yeah, feel free to ask us questions. All right, so we are collectively embodying the resident cat on a merchant freighter known as the Sphinx. We're currently on a trading run to the new colonies out on the rim of colonized space. You, the cat, spent your early life on Discovery Station, a space station, but you have recently opted for a change of venue. So the first thing we're going to decide is, who is our cat? So this is our first poll here, and I've linked it in the chat. So if everyone can go ahead and, yeah, engine of randomness, I really like that phrase. So yeah, if any people can go ahead and fill out that poll that I just sent. There we go. All right, responses are starting to come in. stowaway sure is a popular option. That was the one that won out in the last game too. All right, well, we got about 50% of people opting for stowaway at this point. So I think that's what it's going to end up being. So, as a stowaway, you aren't really supposed to be here on this ship, but due to a series of unfortunate events, you wound up in the cargo bay. You were found by Pippa Franklin, who was the first mate on this ship, and she managed to convince the captain not to immediately jettison you out the airlock. So, you may owe her a little something. But as a stowaway, you may have to prove yourself to the crew if you want to stay here on this ship. All right? All right. So now that we know who we are, let's get into the story here. Whew. You wake up to the harsh buzzing of electric bees. Of course, it isn't actually bees. You know that by now. It's just the artificial daylight generators kicking on in the ship. Just to be safe, though, you crack open an eye. Sure enough, faint beams of light are seeping from the fixtures at the ceiling. As the artificial dawn sort of creeps into the room, you feel yourself filled with rambunctious energy, and you leap out of bed, ready to face the world. Now, your little cat bed is perched on the top of a small steel desk, which gives you an unbroken view of the entire room. Unfortunately, there isn't much to see. Other than the desk, the only furniture in the room is a bed, still containing the sleeping form of your human companion, Pippa Franklin. She is currently tangled in the sheets with one leg hanging off the side. Apparently, not everyone has your natural love of mornings. Deciding to do the noble thing, you decide that the best thing for you to do is to wake her up. So, our first cat prompt here is an acrobatics check. So, this prompt asks us to show how acrobatic your cat is by placing a light sheet or towel over them and seeing what they do. So yeah, we got a couple minutes to let you get these prompts set up. Kitty. All right, let's go ahead and submit those responses to that survey there, so we can see how this goes. It was really entertaining getting to watch this on the screen, though. Oh, sorry, that was my bad. I sent that in a private message to someone and not to the group. Thank you, Zoom, for automatically switching to reply to private. There it is. All right. It's looking like we have some pretty acrobatic cats here in this group. Okay. So, looks like we have a majority for some pretty good acrobatics responses here. So, back on the Sphinx, You sort of crouch your hind legs and you give a huge leap and you sail across the gap and land square in the middle of the bed. If anyone had been watching, they would have definitely clapped and praised you. Unfortunately, no one was. So you decide to remedy that by sort of walking across Pippa's face, laying down on her neck, licking her ear, things like that. These seem like very good things to be doing. Eventually, her eyes sort of snap open and she sort of sits up, gently sort of pushes you off her face and says, okay, I'm up. She swings herself out of bed and goes to get ready for the day. She returns after a few minutes holding a small dish of rehydrated cat food, which she places in front of you. Still rubbing the sleep from her eyes, she says, well, Cat, today I've got a job for you. Crewman Crawford claims that he saw a void rat down in the cargo hold, she says. The damn things have been nothing but trouble since we left Cassandra. If you want to earn your keep, you can start by taking care of that darn rat. Now, if you've never seen a void rat, you might be forgiven for thinking that they're a lot like regular rats, but it just so happens that they're not really at all. Just to start, they're more like arthropods than rodents with a tough, scaly carapace and a bunch of skittering legs. They're about the size of turkeys and covered in some kind of inky black secretion that makes them all but invisible to humans, but not to cats, which is why you are here. And also why humans have started to bring cats along on their spaceships. By this point, Pippa has led you down to the cargo bay, and she sort of tosses you in there and says, good luck, Cat, before closing the door behind you. Taking a look around, you see that the cargo bay is cluttered with boxes, as is to be expected on a merchant freighter. Crates of various sizes in no particular order that you can discern. The void rat could be hiding anywhere in here, which is going to bring us to our next prompt, survival. How good are you at hunting the rat? So yes, this prompt asks you to place a catnip toy or a mouse-shaped toy in front of your cat. If you don't have one of those, just use whatever toy or catnip thing you have. And yes, I definitely sent this poll to everyone. So. All right. Looks like the majority of the responses so far have been attacks the toy with gusto. So yeah, we're pretty good hunters in this group. Back on the Sphinx, you round a tower of crates and find yourself next to a big bluish box. You've taken to calling it the rat crate because for whatever reason the void rats seem drawn to it. 9 times out of 10, when you find a void rat, it's sniffing around that crate. There must be some kind of whatever it is void rats eat inside there. Personally, you don't really care. You don't like being too close to it. It makes your fur stand on end whenever you're near it. But just then, all other thoughts are pushed from your mind when you get a faint whiff of a resinous odor, just a tinge in the air. You know it's a void rat, so you quickly dart into the shadows just in time to see it skitter up to the crate. Now, there's nothing left to do now except to attack. So, here's our first attack roll. It's going to be a melee attack. So yes, this one is going to ask you to take a ribbon, string, or similar toy and sort of dangle it in front of your cat. Ooh, this is a close one. Alrighty. You guys have some pretty good melee attacking cats. All right. So you leap down from the crate, and with one swift strike of your paw, you knock the rat dead. Excellent, expertly done. So, having completed your task, you figure that you really want to be praised for this. So you scoop up the corpse in your teeth and start walking around the ship trying to find a human to praise you for what you've done. You don't encounter anyone, strangely enough, so you head towards the common room and decide to leave it right in front of the door where someone is sure to find it. And obviously, they'll compliment you later. You're about to turn around and go back to your own devices when you hear voices from within the room. One of them is a deep, gravelly voice you recognize to be the captain of the Sphinx. He says, it's too risky. We're not exactly in patrolled space here. And then you hear another voice responding. They seem to be arguing with each other. This voice says, that's exactly why we need to go. If someone is in trouble in there, they can't just wait for the next ship. Whatever is going on, it sounds pretty juicy. And driven by your natural curiosity, you decide to slip into the room and see what you can do about it. So here's our first deception check. So yeah, this prompt is a little more involved. It asks you to place some treats or some food in a room and then leave, and then come back to see how good your cat is at bluffing you. Oops. There's the survey. Once again, I keep sending that in private messages. Yeah, so far it seems like most of your cats are doing exactly what I would do, which is not stopping to eat at all. All right. So looks like most of our cats love food more than they love being stealthy. So you're not particularly stealthy when you try to sneak into this room. You start sneaking, but almost as soon as you enter, you sort of trip over your own paws and knock over a huge stack of pans. Um, Everyone is definitely aware that you're there, and now that there's pans to clean up, they don't particularly feel like talking to you anymore. So everyone just goes about their own business. Pippa, however, does see the corpse of the void rat and praises you. She gives you some nice head pats and says, "Good kitty." Okay, so you gather that what was going on, though, is that there's a derelict ship drifting outside, and the crew were arguing about whether or not they should go and investigate. Um, because everyone is now busy cleaning up, they decide that they'd better just go investigate it anyways, because this is what the captain wanted to do. So people start putting on their suits when suddenly you hear a loud clang and a loud hiss. Um, you're almost certain that as a stowaway, you know that this is the sound of an airlock being blown. Someone is boarding your ship. So here we have a choice. So this is not going to be a cat prompt. This is just a choice for how we want to proceed. How do you want to respond to these pirates? Mm. Whew. All right, well, it looks like we have a tie. So, oh, there it goes. Cuddle just edged it out. Okay, so we are going to distract the pirates by cuddling with them. Which brings us to our cat prompt right here. So let's see how good our cats are at distracting through cuddles. All right, this is a close one. Lots of varied responses here. It seems like the majority is for purrs and rubs himself against you. That's cute. Okay, so back on the Sphinx, pirates start flooding into the ship, and you do what you do best. You jump out into the hallway and you roll onto your back, giving your best cute little kitten eyes. And the pirates, despite being pirates, stop dead in their tracks and they have to pet you. Or at least one of them does and just holds up all the rest of them. But while this pirate is busy rubbing your belly, this allows Pippa Franklin the chance to go and hide herself. Unfortunately, the rest of the crew is captured, but at least someone is safe. So eventually, the pirate captain does enter the ship, and he makes the crew members stop petting you. He's none too happy that they stopped to do this, especially like at you. So all the crew are locked in the utility closet because this is a merchant ship. There's not a jail cell. And the pirate captain tells one of the crew members to take you down to the cargo hold and jettison you into space. Oh no. So this is just what happens. One of the pirates takes you down to the cargo hold and they stuff you into the airlock. It looks like he's about to close the door to decompress when he just sort of slumps to the floor. What happened? Just then you see Pippa's face appear. Apparently, because you helped her escape, she was able to knock out the pirate and save your life. She comes up and pulls you out of the airlock. It's all right now, friend. Thanks for letting me get away. Now we've got a job to do. We have to free the crew. So, let's see, where is... So now you have to sneak through the ship. Hopefully the pirates aren't going to catch you while you're sneaking, but that will depend on how stealthy you all are. So I've sent the next check, which is stealth. See if your cat has stealthy paws by placing your hand lightly on top of their paw and seeing what they do. Personally, I know my cats hate it when you play with their paws, so...
Quick question. The Zoom call says it's about to close in less than a minute.
That's interesting. I don't think it should.
If it's a free account, yeah, it's got a timer. So I think we should all just rejoin when we get kicked.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. So we may not be able to record after this, but yeah, if everyone can just rejoin after it kicks us, yeah, I'll have to deal with that for the next one. Thanks for making me aware. Yes, welcome back, everyone. Yes, it looks like it is recording right now, so yeah. We'll just splice these together. It's gonna give everyone a little bit of time to get back in the room. Okay. Yes, I think there was... Yes, there was a stealth task. So yeah, anyone who hasn't gotten a chance to vote on the stealth task. There it is. Yes, I agree. I love seeing everyone's cats. It's my favorite part of doing this. Okay, so yeah. So yeah, it seems like just sitting there and doing nothing seems to be the winner for this particular prompt. So we are not particularly stealthy, but we're not particularly unstealthy. Luckily, we freed Pippa is free, so she's able to keep us out of too much trouble, and we are able to locate the rest of the crew without too much difficulty. Okay, so we all get there, and the crew are very excited to see us, obviously. They've been talking it over while they were imprisoned, and Engineer Dawkins, who's in there, thinks that she can open the door if you get her the right tool. So she says that what she really needs is called a hex socket fission ratchet. She's very clear that it has to be a hex socket because a pentasocket fission ratchet isn't going to do any good. And the 3-lobe Jaffa wrench that she has in her quarters is just useless. So she wants you to make sure you get that particular tool. But yeah, then basically, since Pippa's with you, you know how to get where you're going. So you just set off. All right, so you wind your way through the corridors of the ship, avoiding pirates at every turn. So you have to hide sometimes, but you're actually pretty good at hiding because you're a stowaway. So eventually you make it to the engineering bay. And unfortunately, once you're there, you find that a couple of pirates have beat you to it. So there's 3 pirates rummaging around in there searching for valuables. But since we're kind of in a hurry here, we're going to pull out another check. So this is going to be a ranged attack. So yeah, we're going to observe our cat's skills with projectiles by tossing some small object in the air over their head, seeing how they react. All right. This one's actually pretty close. We're at a tie. Okay, so we're tied. So I'm just going to roll my own dice here and we're going to figure out what happens. Okay, that was even, so we're going to go with the slightly better response, which is ignores it. All right. Okay, so Yeah, you try to make a ranged attack to scare the pirates, but it doesn't go super well. You just sort of you leap at them and you end up sort of missing and sort of crashing into some crates behind them. However, it does distract them enough that Pippa can come up behind and incapacitate them for you. So your pride is pretty bruised, as is your head, but at least you got what you wanted. So now that we're in engineering, we have to get the right tool. Let's see how good our cat's memories are. So for this one, if you have a book nearby, let's see how intellectual our cats are by putting a book down in front of them and seeing how they respond. All right. Okay. So yeah, you were looking pretty good for a while, but then ignores the book completely, comes right back. So that's what it's going to be at this point, since we're getting a little short on time. You don't really remember which tool is correct, so you just sort of reach in there and grab the thing that looks like the most sci-fi looking object you can find, and you grab it, you bring it to Pippa, and you rush back to the utility room where the crew is waiting. You slide the tool under the door to the utility room, and Engineer Dawkins picks it up and sort of looks at it quizzically. She's like, well, this isn't quite right, but I think I should be able to make it work. You sort of step back from the door and hear a loud pounding, and eventually the door sort of pops open. It took her a little longer than it might have with the right tool, but at least everyone is free. Okay, so with the crew free, everyone sort of looks around for makeshift weapons, and they rush out of the utility room, heading for the bridge. They're rearing for a fight. When they burst into the bridge, they see all the pirates gathered there waiting for them. The pirate captain is standing in the center, stroking his piratey beard. Well, 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 it's about time. I expected more resourcefulness out of you all, the pirate captain says. So we are down to our final question here. How do you want to handle the pirate captain? So for this question, I want you to look your cat in the eyes and ask them, how would they respond in this situation? All right. Most of the responses in, it looks like the slight winner here is to de-escalate the situation by asking everyone to pet the kitty. Hey, it worked before. It's probably going to work this time too, right? So, uh, as the two crews are sort of facing off against each other, like they're ready to draw their weapons at any minute, you sort of jump into the middle, find yourself on top of a console, and sort of roll over on your back. Um, it's incredibly adorable. Surprisingly, no one can resist. If the pirates sort of lower their weapons, the crew does the same, and slowly, everyone sort of comes together, and they both start petting you together, and it's a really great moment. Uh, the pirates sort of realize the error of their ways. Like, why were they trying to steal when they could be, spending all of their time with cats? So the pirate captain decides that he's going to retire from the pirating life and open a pet shelter. Specifically for cats abandoned in space. So that brings us to the end of our adventure. I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did. We do have some social media links if you'd like to follow How to RPG with your cats. Let me go ahead and grab those real quick and throw those in the chat.
I just threw all the links for Oddfish and for How to RPG with Your Cat. And if you guys could check us out on Kickstarter, that would be great. And I believe you guys are going to get a survey after this. We're super stoked that everyone came. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yes, thank you everyone, and enjoy the rest of your Gen Con. We hope to hear from you in the future.
Okay, let me get you guys like